Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Finding Inspiration with Sandra. If you are new here, I am Sandra, I am from Croatia and I am a big lover of Korea, of Korean culture. Without further ado, if you like this channel, please subscribe and let's go to today's topic. Today's topic is for co-influencer mission and it is about pro tips for learning Korean. The first thing that I should ask you it is why do you want to learn Korean? I think the basic question that you need to ask yourself is that because if you want to learn Korean you really need to have good motivation. It is not easy language, but it is really fun to learn. But you can also easily get frustrated because it also can be sometimes really confusing. So if you don't have a really good motivation and really good goal while you are learning it, it will be really hard for you to continue with that journey. It is really a journey that is worth it. To go through it. I already told about my first encounter with Korean and Korea, so I won't repeat that again. You can just check this video, and I will start to give you tips how to learn Korean. I like to have so many resources because it is more fun that way. I often get bored with stuff if I'm doing it for a long time in the same way. I need to have a lot of resources, and that is why I get kind of, let's say, expert for finding different resources for learning Korean, and I know a lot of free resources and also I know a lot of paid resources, but I will share in this video only free resources, except I will mention Netflix and you need to have a subscription for that, but except Netflix, everything else will be completely free. First of all, my favorite definitely resource for learning Korean, and I can't make this video without telling about it, is Talk to Me in Korean. It is actually free in a way that you have a Korean podcast. They have podcast and there is all episodes are completely free and they are talking about different topics and you can learn really from the beginner to the advanced Korean intermediate, so it is for all levels of Korean. And it is really fun and interesting. It is in small pieces, so you can really can adjust your learning to all those lessons. So it is not going too fast or too slow, and you can just find your pace and go with it. Except of the podcast, they also have a website. And because I told you before that I will talk only about free resources, I will just mention a part of their website that have 10 levels of Korean grammar completely for free. And if you learn that, you will be really pro kind of in Korean grammar and in the Korean language because there is a lot of examples and it is really amazing. The rest of the site is paid. They also have a YouTube channel. All stuff on their YouTube channel as well is all for free. So that is definitely my number one resource, and because there is a different stuff that you can learn, I would definitely recommend to you Talk to Me in Korean.com. Second one is from one amazing guy who is not actually native Korean, but he knows Korean that well that I can say that he is perfect teacher if you want to learn Korean from non-native speaker. That is Go Billy Korean, and he is also really amazing. His YouTube channel is all with the free resources. He always responds to comments. He have also a live YouTube shows, and where he is explaining grammar, and he is also taking a question from the audience, and he is explaining that as well. He always responds to your questions whenever he has time, and he is really thoughtful, and he is trying as much as he can to help with Korean study. He also has some paid resources, but if you want the second part of the video with the paid resources, I will mention that in the second video. Third one, and really also one of my favorite ones, is actually Josh and Dolly or Jolly YouTube channel, and Korean Englishman as well. Why is it fun? Because first of all, a few years ago when Josh actually taught Joe Ollie how to speak Korean, and I think those series are so funny and so interesting. And while watching how Josh is explaining to Ollie Korean, I actually learned a lot. So I think it is a good way to kind of start if you know already some of Korean, and to just have fun and laugh while learning with Ollie, and to see how amazing Ollie brain is actually when he's learning Korean, because I always had so much laugh while watching those those series or any else, because it is really fun. Also, there is one when Ollie is alone in the Korea and he needs to find everything by his own, and it will be amazing actually to see him how he is using all Korean that he learned by all these years. So that was really fun for me as well. So definitely I recommend you Josh and Ollie YouTube channel, Ollie and Korean Englishman, because it is really fun to watch that, and it has also English and Korean subtitles at the same time, so you can learn Korean that way as well. Also, while I was trying to find more free resources for learning Korean, I found Coursera. It is a website with a lot of different courses, but the one that is actually my favorite one is for learning Korean from the Yonsei University. There is a teacher from Yonsei University, and it has actually free lessons on that website. You can also get, if you want to certificate for that, you can pay for it, but it is also without certificate, all free lessons, and you can actually learn a lot from that. It is have from beginner Korean, like from Hangul, and then they are going in more deep stuff like the grammar, like order in the sentence, like vocabulary and all. And it is really fun because those videos are like 10 minutes long each one for the lesson, and it has vocabulary, it has a grammar, it has a really fun dialogue, and it is really fun to learn that way. One more site that I really grateful for, and I am really learning a lot from it. It is howtostudykorean.com, and that site is actually also from non-native Korean speaker, someone who was learning Korean, but it is all checked with a Korean native speaker. So there is no any mistakes, and it is really good because there is literally from the beginner to the intermediate advanced Korean learner, and it has everything. So whenever I have any question about Korean, I actually go to that site because it has almost everything that you think about in the terms of the grammar, vocabulary, and similar. Also, you can find on my social media, I'm often drawing vocabulary, Korean vocabulary, something like that. And I started doing that because I was trying to find a way how to learn Korean vocabulary, and I realized when I'm drawing something, I draw that so much, and I kind of maybe sometimes even invent the story in my head about that drawing, or I just remember it because I draw it a few more times, and I am connecting that drawing of mine with the letters, with the word, and I realized that it kind of gets stuck, that word, in my head. So I often use that, and there is people around me who are also showing that on my social media that said that it is really helpful. My advice would be try to do something with Korean vocabulary, like try to invent story or draw, because I also started to write a romance story that is actually in Korea, and I started to use kind of mixed English and Korean vocabulary, and that was because I wanted to teach other Koreans, but also I wanted to practice Korean by myself. So it is also a fun way to just try to start story or something like that. Also, as I mentioned before, Netflix is one that is not free resource, but I think there is a lot of people who are having Netflix already, so I wanted to mention it because there is a extension for Netflix, this one, and when you turn it on, then you can watch actually with Korean subtitles and English subtitles, or whatever language is your native language, and you can click on every part, and it shows what that means. So just like that. Also, I like to watch Korean shows, and for example, one of my favorite ones is Running Man. And while I was watching Running Man, I started to pick up a lot of words from Korean shows. So, for example, they were playing often talgi talgi Korean game, and then I realized they are talking talgi talgi, and talgi is actually strawberry. So that is way how I actually learn what is strawberry. So it is really fun to learn Korean when they have scream in the silence. Also, there is just one word, so you can also connect it with how they are acting that, and you can remember that was actually helpful for me. So I hope it can help you as well. And the other way how you can use Korean shows is I often like to watch Korean music shows. And when they are having contestants that they are singing, they are often putting lyrics. So you can practice repeating after the singer, and you can actually practice to read that lyrics. It is really good to practice your pronunciation and kind of shadowing the singer while he is singing. And I realize it is also good to practice fast reading Korean letters. So that is also a really good tip that is helping to me. Another thing is that when you're watching Korean shows, you can, beside the subtitles, you can also see the other part, because they are describing a lot of situations that are happening or that someone is saying in the additional subtitles that is are part of the show, because they are often a really easy sentence. And you can actually copy that in the notebook, and you can search for the meaning or just learn it from the translation, from the subtitles. Also, I know that Korea has a lot of Chinese origin words, and because of the history and all, I started exploring what Korean words has Chinese characters in it. You can do that with the Naver. So Naver is also actually a really helpful app for me. So I definitely recommend it if you didn't already download it. It is free as well. And it is helpful because you can see a root of the word, and you can see Chinese letters, and you can actually find on the internet or in the Naver what is the meaning of that letter, of the Chinese character, and you can easily to remember. I also often put that on the social media. Maybe you saw it on my YouTube shorts, but it has like, for example, a shield, and shield is part of the room. And if you have a shield, 화장실, which is a bedroom, that 거실, which is a living room, then everything that is actually have a shield, if that is that Chinese character that it is representing, that word, it is actually means the place. So if you see that word with the Chinese character in it, it is actually the way how you can remember that word. So if you see shield in the Korean word, it often can mean that it is actually about the place. Also, it is fun to try to understand more Korean. So, for example, what was really fun for me, these two words, while I was trying to connect some words that I already learned. So, for example, you have kogi, which is a meat, and you have mul, which is a water. And if you connect mulkogi, you get water meat, and that is actually a fish. If you get interested more in Korean and Korean vocabulary, you will see how fun can it be to learn Korean language. There is also a lot of more websites and apps. I will mention it. I'll show you now all of them. I'm using all of them in some way, maybe some more, some less, but they are really good. They are also having from the Sejong University, Korean Sejong University. They are having a lot of free apps that you can find in the Google Store, and I'm not sure do they have it from the iPhone, because I don't have iPhone, but you can find it in the Google Store for Android. And also you can find a lot of resources on the internet that they have it for free for all Korean learners. So I definitely recommend also to check that. I know that learning Korean can be sometimes overwhelming, that you can sometimes feel that you are not going anywhere, that you are not born to learn that language, because I often felt that way. My advice would be practice it a lot, watch a lot of Korean dramas, listen a lot of Korean music, so surround yourself with Korean content, and also find Korean natives that will help you, because I have a lot of Korean friends and they are really helpful to me, and I'm really grateful that they are able to give advice and to respond to my questions when I am asking them. So find Korean friends. It is easy to find them, especially if you are having something to exchange, like language, like English. You can help them with English. The good app for that is HelloTalk. It is also free. That is have a free version and paid version, and with free version you actually can learn a lot and make a lot of friends. So tell me in the comments which resources are you using, and also let me know if you want to watch another video which will be with the paid resources, and I will make it. Thank you so much for the watching, thank you so much for learning Korean, and thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. If you like this video, please subscribe and give a like, and see you another time. Bye!